c'est les contacts sociaux entre les individus dans toutes sortes de milieux. Puis si on veut réussir, la première chose qu'il faut faire, c'est que les gens qui ont des symptômes doivent aller se faire dépister, s'isoler avant de contaminer d'autres personnes. Si on est en contact avec un cas, il faut aussi s'isoler et attendre la santé publique. La santé publique, elle va vous appeler, elle va vous donner des recommandations. Puis le reste, il est où? Je vais vous le dire. Oui, on peut tout fermer si on veut. C'est une façon, la Nouvelle-Zélande, de tout fermer pour éliminer le virus. Mais on ne veut pas en arriver à ça. Mais je vais vous le dire, c'est dans la communauté que ça se transmet. Donc, dans les faits, la recette, c'est pas nécessairement de fermer tel endroit ou tel endroit. On le fait parce que c'est un incitatif à augmenter les contacts sociaux. C'est de diminuer vos contacts sociaux. Si l'ensemble du Québec rediminue de façon significative les contacts sociaux, on va voir 10-14 jours plus tard l'effet. Les mesures qu'on vient de mettre, on va les voir dans quelques jours. Mais on a besoin de les intensifier. Si vous ne voulez pas qu'on ferme d'autres milieux, diminuez vos contacts sociaux à l'essentiel. Allez au travail, allez à l'épicerie, allez vous magasiner quelque chose si vous en avez besoin. Respectez les consignes de 2 mètres, lavez-vous les mains et portez le masque. C'est ça le message qui va faire qu'on va à la fois. Puis faites attention à nos aînés, parce que ça circule beaucoup aussi, pour pas qu'on se retrouve à l'hôpital. Je voulais juste vous dire, la situation est critique, puis je vais vous dire, elle va dépendre beaucoup plus du comportement de chacun d'entre nous que de fermer un endroit ou un autre.
Tommy Chouinard, La Presse.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur le Premier ministre. Il y a le juge Jacques Vien qui a étudié toute la question dont vous avez parlé tout à l'heure, qui a sous-pesé les 2 camps dont vous parlez. Il est arrivé à une conclusion. Il a dit, au Québec, il y a de la discrimination systémique. Il a bien expliqué c'est quoi, il a donné une définition absolument très claire là-dessus. Vous avez dit tout à l'heure qu'il y a une différence entre racisme et discrimination systémique. Donc, si vous ne reconnaissez pas le racisme systémique, reconnaissez-vous la discrimination systémique?
Écoutez, actuellement, on est en train de regarder les 142 recommandations du rapport Vien. On veut appliquer le maximum de recommandations du rapport Vien. Donc, je ne peux pas en dire plus que ça.
Mais donc, si vous dites qu'il y a une différence, est-ce que ça devient plus acceptable, la discrimination systémique, comme terme que vous pouvez utiliser?
Ben, écoutez, comme je vous dis, là, ça n'a pas fait l'objet, on ne s'est pas penché là-dessus. Ce qu'on dit, par contre, c'est que pour nous, il n'y a pas de racisme systémique.
Question pour le ministre Christian Dubé au sujet des agences de placement. Il y a une motion qui a été adoptée à l'unanimité à l'Assemblée nationale à ce sujet-là. On a vu des cadres du réseau public qui ne voient pas d'apparence de conflit d'intérêt dans certains agissements, notamment en étant propriétaire d'agences de placement. Est-ce que vous entendez intervenir et comment?
Bon, la réponse est oui. Premièrement, tout conflit d'intérêt, pour moi, peu importe à quel niveau de l'organisation se passe, pour moi, il est inacceptable. Ce que j'ai compris dans les dernières heures, c'est qu'il y avait une impossibilité pour des cadres qu'on dit supérieurs d'être en conflit d'intérêt. C'était clair que des cadres de premier et deuxième niveau ne pouvaient pas avoir de participation. Mais il y avait un certain flou depuis plusieurs années que des cadres intermédiaires pouvaient, selon certains CIS ou CIUS, avoir cette flexibilité-là et cette possibilité. Puis pour moi, ça, c'est totalement inacceptable. On ne peut pas dire que parce qu'on est à un endroit de l'organisation qu'on peut avoir un conflit d'intérêt ou une perception de conflit d'intérêt. Alors moi, ce que j'ai demandé clairement dans les dernières heures, j'ai demandé à ma sous-ministre, Mme Savoie, de s'assurer de savoir partout où est le cas. Là, le cas connu dans le CIS, il est facile, on le connaît, mais de voir partout où il pourrait y avoir ces conflits-là, il va y avoir une directive qui va être émise et ça ne sera plus permis, peu importe où ça se retrouve dans la hiérarchie du réseau de la santé.
Merci.
Pour être très clair.
Nous passons maintenant au bloc de questions en anglais avec Raquel Fletcher, Global.
Good afternoon. I wanted to start with the 28-day challenge seems more and more irrealistic. It seems unrealistic. And I'm wondering if you feel like you need to hold back and give a hopeful message to Quebecers you know, stay with it. At the end of the 28 days, we're going to get through this. But realistically, we need to keep limiting our social contacts. I mean, if we reopen at the end of 28 days, we'll just go back to where we were before. So it's not just 28 days. We need to keep this until, I don't know, until when?
Well, I'm so glad you asked the question. So glad. I'll do it in 3 steps. Let's be clear, and I said that in French earlier, and if you don't know, I'll repeat it. We can make a difference every day. When we announced that on October 1st, officially, right, we said October 28th, we can make a big difference. The last effort of the last 7 days will pay off in the next few days, because you know that the gesture, the way we react, the way we apply those measures will have an impact in the 14 days following. So what I'm commending the Quebecers is we'll see in the next few days if our tough measures and the way we have been reacted are paying off. That's for the first 14 days. And the vision we have with the expert is the first success, and we need some success. The population, when we call that, we need win. We need some, you know, sometimes we say low-hanging fruit. We need to have a win sometimes. And the win that we can have in the next few days is really to stabilize the number of cases. If we were able not to go, as we've seen, 600, 700, 800, now we are in the 1,000 area. If we could just see a stabilization of that number in the next week, that would be a first win. That would be for the first 14 days. And then the Quebecers will say it's working, right? The second win would be if we continue over the following 14 days, can we see now a decrease? And I'll tell you, when it goes down, and we have experts that are analyzing that, it makes a big difference, because when you start those to see the diminution, the decrease, of those, the outburst of being at 600, they would go down to 500, 400. I think that would make a big difference. So I don't know where we're going to be at the end of October, but I know one thing. If we have those 2 wins, the stabilization first and some of the decrease in the second part of October, to me, that would be a very big win. And we'll give you this information because, as you know, what I think is clear, and I'll finish with that, is all those gestures, all those things that we do right now will have a big impact in the next 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And what we will do in the meantime is update you every week, as we did last week, what is the impact on hospital and how we are managing our hospital system. If Quebecers, and I think they understand that, we will keep them, we'll inform them of the benefit of succeeding in the next few weeks. And I'm saying, as I said before, let's make sure we show to the nurses and all the personnel in the hospital that we are doing that for them. Because if we're successful in our health system, we can continue to have our kids at school, and we can continue for our people to go to work. That's really the 2 success that we would like to have in October.
My next question is about family doctors in Montreal. They say the number of PREMs, I'm not sure how to pronounce it in English, PREMS, being offered for 2021 is not enough because it still leaves some neighborhoods underserved. How is your government planning to fix the system by which Quebecers get a family doctor so that there isn't such a shortage?
Okay, you want me to take that? Okay. Le PREM is really the system where we allocate in each region every year roughly 900 new doctors that are coming, and basically we think that currently we have 2 issues. We have an issue how we allocate each time at university how we allocate between specialists and generalists, and we are promoting more generalists because we think this is what we need more. So that's the first decision that we have made in the last few years. So I think they should be happy with that because that's the priority that we want to give. That's the first thing. The second thing is we think that it's not only the number of doctors, and I don't want to go into a large debate that we will do, but the doctors, especially the generalists, need to work with us better to make sure that in what we call les GMF, les endroits où les gens peuvent aller se faire traiter, we need to have a better service to Quebecers, even though they're not allocated to one doctor. So it's not only a quantum of doctor, but it's a way we allocate that we can service a patient that is not allocated to a doctor. We are discussing that right now. We have made very clear discussion with Dr. Godin of DFMOQ as to how we could serve better within 36 hours the patient, even though they're not allocated to a doctor. And we're working really hard on that. So we're working on the quantum, having more generalists, but we're also working on making sure the Quebecers can call a doctor and have an answer within 36 hours, even though they're not allocated to one.
Philippe Autier, de Gazette. Good day. I just would like to ask Mr. Premier Legault and Dr. Arruda if you share Mr. Dubé's views that, well, maybe you want to hear the question first, that Ontarians are better at following the rules, they're more disciplined, and that's maybe why they're doing better than Quebec is. You spoke about the Toronto mystery that you would like to understand. Do you share his views that Quebecers are not as disciplined as Ontarians?
But one thing is clear is we have more cases, more hospitalization. So it means more contacts, but it's very tough to answer this question because we started with more cases at the right beginning because of the school break. So it's very tough to answer this question, but I don't know.
In fact, I think it's always difficult to say one thing will cause everything. It's a mix-up of factors. But if we look different polls that have been made, especially by different firms, about the comportement of the Québécois compared to Ontario, there seems to be, as Mr. Dubé said, a little bit of less compliance on things, a little bit of but that's not the only thing that could explain everything. Even there is some hypothesis about different types of virus, which were different source of virus that have been circulated. I think it's too difficult to make a direct causal situation. It's a mixed up of things.
And if I may,
go ahead.
Because I will comment on my comment. And as you know, sometimes I put myself in trouble, so I'll continue to dig my hole. But the one thing that I've said, I don't know if I said the word more discipline. I don't know the word that I've used, but I'll say one thing.
Well, Mr. Roy says, Patrice Roy says they're more disciplined, ? And then you say, c'est possible.
Okay, here we go. So I think that clarifies what I said. Okay, good, thank you. Now, having said that, I think what I'm taking the responsibility is not on what is the difference. I think the responsibility that this gentleman gave me is to make sure that it works. We've done a lot of things in the last 3 months, a lot of things. But I'm telling Quebecers that we still have a lot to do. And I'll give you the example. When I want to share that with the Quebecers because I think it's important. The job we have to do, and I explained when we were talking about testing. I told you a few weeks ago, we were not good at it. We were not good at managing the lines. We were not good at answering. And we are improving on that every day. Now, you've seen what we have done. It's still not perfect, but improving. Now, one place where I think we can improve that can have an impact is on tracing. And I've discussed that with our people, with Mylène Drouin in Montreal. And the reason I'm saying that, so I don't know how Ontario is able to do their tracing better than us, but we discussed that the other day. But I know with Mylène Drouin, she's telling me, when Quebecers are not answering my call, when we have identified somebody, that person continue for 2, 3, 4 days to be contagious, that can have an impact on the number of cases. So our job is not to say Quebecers are doing worse or what can we do? And I think on our side, we can improve our tracing system by making sure that we do a better job, and that will have an impact. But what I'm asking Quebecers today, please answer the phone, because you can make a huge difference, because that person, whatever she or he feels guilty, he should not feel guilty. We've said that many times. So the difference, I'll tell you, if we do a better tracing and Quebecers help us in that tracing, in the next few days, we'll make a big difference. And again, maybe we can reach Ontario.
And my second question for Premier Legault, you had a cabinet meeting today. Is it still the plan of the Quebec government to proceed with the school board elections in the English system this on November 1st? Is that still are you still going ahead with the elections?
Okay. Right now, we had a recommendation from the public health this morning to postpone these elections because of the actual situation with the pandemic.
And is that your decision, that you will postpone?
We always follow the recommendations of healthcare, of public health.
Je vais vous demander de répéter ça en français, s'il vous plaît, M. le Premier
Oui,
ministre.
donc il devait y avoir des élections scolaires pour les commissions scolaires anglophones. La santé publique nous a recommandé aujourd'hui de reporter à plus tard ces élections. On devrait accepter cette recommandation.
Merci. Katsuni, CBC.
Good day. Facebook took down the page of Radio Quebec. Well, you know what it is. It's a channel that spreads conspiracy theories about COVID-19, that it's not dangerous, for example, and had about 80,000 followers. What do you think about this decision?
What I understand is it's because of Mr. Cossette-Trudel, who was involved on this page, but it's a Facebook decision.
Yeah, but what do you think about having Facebook taking that decision of this conspiracy? Well, they had Mr. Cossette was basically spreading.
But I don't like to see conspiracy on social media. So.
What can be the impact for public health when you have conspiracy theories spread on the web like this?
It's a real problem. Right now, Lucie Laurier, Cossette-Trudel, and those people saying that it's not true that we have a virus, of course, it doesn't help to convince population to follow our guidelines.
CTV.
Mr. Legault, after what happened in the hospital of Joliette, there are calls asking for you to recognize systemic racism. Will you do that?
No, because right now, the Quebecers are divided in two groups. Some of the Quebecers think that there is systemic racism in Quebec. Another group, think that there's not. So I think our target and my objective is to try to have all Quebecers together fighting against racism. And we all agree that there is racism and we don't want racism. So trying to work at the Joliette Hospital, we'll try to make sure that there's enough training about cultural differences to make sure that all employees are trained to give same services to First Nation than to anybody else.
Don't think it's systemic.
I continue to think that there's not a system, of racism. Yeah.
C'est ce qui met fin au point de presse. Merci beaucoup. Bonne fin de journée.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Merci tout le monde. Soyez prudents. Will make a big difference. And again, maybe we can reach Ontario.
And my second question for Premier Legault, you